Feeling stuck and confused on what to do to achieve your goals this semester? Well, on tonight's show, we're going to talk about how to create a plan to make achieving your goals in 2019 a done deal. Welcome to She Rocks at College Live. I'm your host, Clarissa, and it seems like we have a little bit of a series going on. The past few videos, I've been giving you a bunch of content, steps, strategies, techniques, insight really on how to have your best semester yet. And with the new year rolling around, I couldn't create this show tonight without touching on goal settings and making sure that you set yourself up for a semester where you are actually achieving things instead of just thinking about the things that you want to do. And my goal this semester is to really see you reach your full potential. Like, I want you to see everything that you're capable of. I want you to go into this semester kicking absolute butt. And before we dive into tonight's show, I want to know if you've ever set a goal before, if you've ever created a plan to hit that goal, and if you've ever missed it. What do you think happened that didn't allow you to achieve the goal it is that you were working so hard to hit? So in the comments, let's have a conversation around the goals that you're trying to hit. If you've set goals in the past, how it went, the struggles that you have with goal setting, and at the end, I'm going to make sure to answer those questions. So one of the things that always surprises me is that students refrain from goal setting because they don't want to disappoint themselves. But when you choose not to set goals, you're disappointing yourself ahead of time, because what you're basically saying is, I'm not going to set a goal because I know that I'm not good enough, I'm not qualified enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not capable enough to hit that goal. So you prevent yourself from ever going after it, which means that you deny yourself the chance of ever achieving what it is that you set out to achieve. So before you even start taking action, you disappoint yourself ahead of time. Now, I have a full goal setting series on my YouTube channel that I recommend that you watch if you want help setting goals for this coming semester. And I think it's really important for each and every single one of us to set goals, because goals help us stretch ourselves. They help us think differently. They help us to imagine and believe things about ourselves that we might not fathom because we're stuck in our own little bubble. And goals stretch us to reach our full potential. One of the things that I love doing is setting goals, because when I set really, 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 really big goals, what it does is reveal to me all the places that I believe that I'm not able to achieve it. It reveals to me all of the thoughts that I'm thinking that are preventing me from achieving the goal. It reveals to me all of the places that I feel like I am not enough, which then allows me to go into those areas, to go into those thoughts and observe them and watch them and start to change them so that I do become the person that achieves the goals that I currently believe that are too big for me. So I set goals every single year, but I will tell you that it freaking sucks when you set a goal and you don't hit it. So how do we set goals to succeed in college, in anything else it is that we want to achieve, and make it inevitable for us to hit it? Well, there are only two things that you need to achieve to hit your goals. Two things that you need to do. So number one is called a Make It Possible plan. And the second thing is what my coach, Brooke Castillo, and Tony Robbins calls all in action. Tony Robbins actually calls it massive action, and I'll explain a little bit later what those terms mean. But on January 1st, I'm going to be walking hundreds. We have about 200 and something college women right now signed up for the Your Best Semester Yet challenge. It is a 5-day challenge that I'm hosting to help you to create a plan to set yourself up for success this semester. We're going to talk about goal setting. We're going to talk about creating your Make It Possible plan. You're going to be able to submit your Make It Possible plan and have me give you feedback. It's going to be amazing. We start on January 1st. And if you want to get in on that challenge, you're going to want to go to bit.ly/best semester yet. I'm going to make sure that gets put in the comments if you come back and watch the replay of this video, but I'll say it again. It's bit.ly/best semester yet. You have to make sure that B, that S, and that Y are capitalized. Otherwise, it'll give you an error message. So many of us get caught up in what I call intellectual action when we're working towards a goal. And what intellectual action is what it sounds like. To be an intellectual means that you objectively think about and come up with plans and solutions on how you're going to fix a problem, but you never actually get in and do the things it is that you're dreaming up and conceptualizing. So when you're stuck in intellectual action, you're kind of stuck in consumption of knowledge. So whether that is a book on the goal that you're trying to hit, a YouTube video, a podcast, a blog post, you might write down ideas from all these different places. You might write down, a note-taking method that you saw on YouTube that you really want to try this semester, or an organizational method, or a new planner, or things like that. You'll pin things on organization tips on Pinterest. You'll post an inspirational quote on Instagram. You'll spend a lot of time thinking about what it is that you want to achieve and how you want to achieve it. You even go as far as creating like a plan for it, right? You actually write it out. You put out the steps. You talk to people about it. You tell people about what it is that you want to do. You're constantly in this intellectual thought process about it, but you never move into taking any physical action towards your goal. And guess what? Actions are the only thing that produce results. And if you're not taking daily action towards the goals it is that you want for this next semester, you're not all in. To achieve what it is that you want to achieve, you have to be all in. And that is what all in action is about. So the way that my coach explained it to me and the way that Tony Robbins talks about it is all in action is when you're so committed to your goal that you take action and you continue to take action until you achieve the result you set out to achieve. So until you hit that goal. Tony Robbins, like I said, calls it massive action, meaning you do far more than the average person would do under the same or similar conditions. All in is a commitment to keep going no matter what. It means you do not quit until you reach the finish line. It means taking full ownership of your problems, mistakes, and failures, and doing all you possibly can to rectify what those problems are. No matter how many times you fail, no matter how hard it freaking gets, no matter how much effort it's going to take, you're committed to seeing it through. You don't quit until you get the result you want. Even if it takes double the amount of time. I know that many of you who have stumbled upon She Rocks at College, this is not your first rodeo, right? This might be your second, third, fourth nursing program. This might be your first, second, third, fourth, fifth time retaking chemistry. This might be your third time trying to get into medical school. This might be your fifth time trying to take the MCATs, or your seventh time trying to pass, the bar exam. All in means you're in it to win it, no matter what. You're going to keep going. You're going to keep trying different things. You're going to go after it until you hit the goal, whatever that goal is. all in action is what makes achieving your goal inevitable. And it's the framework for building your Make It Possible plan, which I said that in detail, we're going to cover the Make It Possible plan inside of the Your Best Semester Yet challenge, which is a free challenge that starts on January 1st. And you can go ahead and sign up for that. I will make sure to put it in the comments at some point. So what I want to do on this video on this live is to show you how I go through achieving the goals that I want to achieve inevitable. And again, if you are not even yet at the point where you've set goals, if you don't even know how to set goals, if you don't even know what to start, what's a good goal, what's a bad goal, how many goals do I pick, I have a whole YouTube series on goal setting. I created it last year around this time. It is tried and true. It's the method that I use every year to create my own goals. So I suggest that you watch it and then you come back to this video to help you to create your plan for the goal it is that you set. So once you have your goal picked out, what you want to do is you want to take out a blank sheet of paper and I want you to just brainstorm all of the things you think that you could do to help you to reach your goal. And I also want you to write down why you believe that thing that you wrote down would help you to reach your goal. When you're doing this process, you don't want to judge what you write down. You don't want to filter what you write down. You just want to write down anything and everything that comes to your mind, no matter how crazy it seems. So I'm going to give you an example. So let's say that my goal for this semester is to go from a C- in all of my classes. Let's say that that's been my average so far. I want to go from a C- to a B- in each and every single one of my classes. So if that is my goal in this brainstorming process, I might write down things like I'm going to attend every lecture and never miss a lecture, not even if I'm sick. I'm going to write notes immediately after class. I'm going to get tutoring in every avenue that I can get tutoring, even if it's going to cost me money to do it. I'm going to get help from a friend. I'm going to get help from the professor. I'm going to stay on top of my reading and my notes. I'm going to create flashcards. I'm going to buy the textbook study guide. I'm going to go on Khan Academy. I'm going to go record and re-listen to lectures. I'm going to practice problems and or questions from the back of the book or things that I can find online. I'm going to join a study group. I'm going to do space retrieval on or flashcards on Anki or Quizlet. And you just write down everything that you think would help you to achieve your goal. And you also need to write down why you think that if you took that action, it would help you to achieve your goal. The reason why you want to write down why is because, again, this plan is a Make It Possible plan. So you want to justify to yourself that if you did this thing, it's going to help you to achieve your goal. And you want to physically see in writing how it would help you to reach your goal, even if it's crazy. If I attended every class, even if I was dying sick with the flu or meningitis or something, how is that going to help me to reach my goal? Well, I'm going to be able to ask questions from the professor right there. I'm going to be able to see the information a second or a third time, especially if I've done the reading. So if I attend every single lecture, it's only going to benefit me. If I attend tutoring, the same thing. If I get help from my professor, again, the same thing. I get specialized one-on-one attention to help me fill in any knowledge gaps that I have that might cause me trouble on the exam. So everything that you write down, after you write it down, you want to go through and write down why you believe that if you did that thing, it would help you to achieve your goal. Once you've done that, the next thing that you want to do is you want to go through and review every single thing that you wrote down and the reason why you wrote it down. And you're going to narrow it down. Yes, I'm going to ask you to narrow it down to 1 to 3 things. 1 to 3 things that if you consistently did them, if you went all in for a month on these actions, it would make it almost inevitable for you to hit your goal. Now, the reason why I say 1 month, right? So once you pick these 1 to 3 things that you're going to focus in on, go all in, meaning you're not going to miss a day. You're not going to come up with any excuse not to do it, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when it's complicated, even when it feels impossible. You're going to go and you're going to do it and you're going to commit to that for a month. The reason why I say a month is because typically in college, we have an exam about every 3 to 4 weeks. So if you're going to create a plan and you're going to commit to sticking to it, and you want to see if it actually helped you to get the B- on the exam, the only way that you're going to get feedback or information on whether or not you should change it is if, number one, you do it and you do it perfectly, right? You commit to it. You follow those 3 actions every day, every week for the full 4 weeks. And 2, you need to actually get some information back, right? You need to get your exam back to be able to gauge whether or not what you did worked. Some things that I want you to consider when you're picking your 1 to 3 actions is you need to consider whether or not you have the skill that you wrote down. So for example, if I said that I was going to write notes for every single one of my classes right after class, but I am not yet skilled in notes that actually help me to pass the exam, that's a skill that I lack. So I need to make note of that, because what I'm going to need to do is actually make one of my actions to learn how to write notes. You also have to figure out, do you have enough time to do that thing that you wrote down? Does it physically fit into your schedule? And if it currently does not, you need to weigh your priorities against that action. What do you want more? What is more important to you? And if you need to bump something else to fit that thing in, then that's what you have to do. If you are not willing to do that because you're not willing to reprioritize things, that's okay too. But you need to then pick something else that will help you and actually does fit into your daily schedule. The other thing that you need to think about is, do you have the resources? And by resources, I mean money, right? Do you have the money? Do you have the actual tools that you're going to need to take that action? If you're saying that you're going to go to tutoring across town every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, do you have the car or the transportation together? Do you have the money to pay for the tutoring? Do you have X, Y, and Z that you're going to need to physically take that action? So again, all of these questions are helping you to really make your plan something that is attainable for you to achieve your goal. The last thing that I want you to think about is there anything that could potentially get in the way of me being able to do this action? If so, what is it? I freaking love this question. Because what this question does is reveal to you all of the obstacles that you're going to face throughout the semester as you're trying to achieve this goal. And it allows you to see them ahead of time, which means that you can come up with a plan to move past those obstacles ahead of time so that they no longer exist and no longer can get in your way. Listen, guys, sometimes that obstacle is just your mindset. It's just a thought that you're having that's kind of blocking you from moving forward. But if you can see it, now that it is visible, you can do something with it. You can make a decision about how you're going to handle it. Most of us give up on our goals because we don't anticipate these obstacles. And so when things get hard, we get stuck and confused and we don't know where to move. But when you start thinking ahead of time of what are the possible obstacles, the things that are going to come up that are going to stop me in my tracks, and you start ahead of time thinking of solutions or workarounds, then it makes it so that when those things do come up, you're prepared and they don't hold you back. They don't set you back. And that's why I love that question. So let's say, like I said, maybe I wanted to take notes and read before class, but I don't have great note-taking, reading comprehension skills. It doesn't matter that I take notes after class because those notes are not going to be notes that I understand and that help me to actually pass the exam. So one of my actions then is going to be to take a note-taking workshop this month and apply one of the skills that I learned in that note-taking workshop. So I'm learning the skill and I'm also practicing applying the skill. And guess what? If I learn the skill and I practice the skill with my notes for each of my classes, what's going to inevitably happen? I'm going to get better at taking notes. And if I get better at taking notes, I'm going to get better at understanding the information, which means I'm going to get better at answering questions on the exam. Do you see how these types of plans make it so that it is inevitable? It's almost a given that you're going to succeed, especially if you don't give up, especially if you anticipate obstacles, especially if you're creating this make it possible plan. So the next thing that you want to do is you want to get really specific. You want to focus on result-driven actions, and you want to build in constraints and put these things on your calendar. Our brains do not care what it does. Our brain doesn't care what it does, what it focuses on. It just wants you to give it something to focus on. It just wants something to do so that it can get really good at doing it efficiently. So we as humans are not utilizing the full potential of our brain by directing it to focus on the things it is that we want to achieve. Our brains love routines. They love efficiency. They want to get really good at things. So if that is the way that our brain is designed, wouldn't you want to focus its attention and its efficiency on things that you want to produce in your life that will enhance the amount of money you make, the quality of life that you live, the quality of life that you're able to give your kids, the experiences that you have, as frivolous as they may be, or as heart-driven as they may be. And I don't care what you decide to do with your life, right? There's no judgment here. I think everybody deserves to desire whatever the hell they want to desire. But don't you want to make it so that those things actually happen and occur for you in your life? If you want that to happen, you need to start working with this and focusing your direction on the things it is that you want. So once you have these 1 to 3 actions, you need to focus on what it is that you want to produce at the end of every single day or week if the action is weekly driven. So what I mean by that is on your calendar, I don't want you to just write down study for biology. What are you doing to study for biology? At the end of that study session, what do you tangibly want to have? So when you put things on your calendar and you set these constraints, you need to be specific. So for example, in the goal that I have around, getting a B- in all of my classes, right? And I'm focusing on note taking. What I'm going to do is put on my calendar on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm going to attend every lecture at 8 a.m. for biology. Then, in the hour after lecture, I'm going to have completed the notes for whatever topic it is that we covered that day. And I'm going to do that at 10 a.m. At the end of the week, I'm going to complete the end of chapter questions as my quiz and recall method. And I'm going to do that on Saturdays at 12 p.m. Right here, we have these actions being specific. Not only do I know what I'm going to do, I know when I'm going to do them and what time. So what day of the week and what time. It is results driven. So at the end of that study session, I will have produced something. And that something is either a set of notes or completed quiz and recall methods. And what makes it constrained is that it's done on a specific date and time so that my brain doesn't have to make decisions about when am I going to do biology notes. I know every Monday at 9 a.m., it is biology note-taking time. So I just go to my little corner in the library, or I go back to my dorm, or I go back to my apartment, and at 9 a.m. every Monday, it is note-taking time. And that is just what I do. I build in those constraints so that my brain doesn't have to focus and think and be riddled with decision fatigue. It's just a given. It's what I do. It's part of who I am. I'm just the girl that goes home and writes notes after class. That is who I am. That's who I'm becoming 2019, right? You have to embody this, and you have to build in these constraints because they help you to become a better person. They help teach you to trust yourself, that you are going to do what you say you're going to do when you say you're going to do it. How amazing would it be for you to say that in 2019, I learned to trust myself. I learned that when I say I'm gonna do something, I freaking do it. I'm that person. I'm that person. Who wants to be that in 2019? Right? Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Because it's amazing. So the last and the most essential part of creating your Make It Possible plan and making achieving your goals inevitable in 2019 is you need to track your results, and you need to create a personal feedback process. Remember earlier when I said that all in action means you take full, complete, absolute ownership of your problems, your mistakes, and your failures by doing all you possibly can to rectify them. This does not mean that you beat yourself up. This does not mean that you call yourself stupid. This does not mean that you tell yourself, I can't do this. This is an objective view where you're looking, these were my 3 actions to try to get a B- on this exam. I followed this plan to a T and I only got a C+. Something here has to change. I'm going to figure it out what has to change because what I did took me from a C- to a C+. So I either need to take something out based off of how the exam was. I need to put something in based off how the exam was. Maybe I need to study for a little bit longer. Maybe instead of studying the 2 days before the exam, I study 5 days out from the exam. But you make these changes to the original actions that you created based off of the result that you got, which is why it is imperative that you give yourself a full month or however long it's going to take you to achieve your goal, whatever the goal it is that you set. But you need to follow it to a T, number 1. Number 2, you need to assess at the end of that period. Inside of the College Productivity Kit, which is the planner that I created, which is not currently for sale because we're sold out, I have a process in there where students at the end of every week are looking back to see, did I do the 3 actions that I set out for myself? Because when you can see what you did and you didn't do, you can make better decisions on what you're going to do moving forward to achieve the goal it is that you want to achieve. You can't change your study plan because it didn't work if you didn't follow it. It's stupid because you don't really know if it was the study plan or if it was because you didn't follow it. So if you're going to pick something, pick it, do it for the course of 3 to 4 weeks to a T, okay? And then assess whether or not it worked or didn't. You cannot get a actual result, one that makes sense, one that is accurate, when you didn't follow the plan to a T. Right? The results are going to be faulty. It's not going to be, and I'm losing the words right now. It's not going to be it's just not going to produce like a realistic feedback mechanism if you didn't follow the plan it is that you put forth, because you're basically making a decision on something that you didn't do. So how can you say whether or not the plan worked or didn't work if you didn't follow it for the full 4 weeks? You can't. You have to do it. You have to do it fully, all in, wholeheartedly, and then at the end of the 4 weeks, you can say, okay, yeah, that didn't work, or oh wow, that worked really great, or oh, maybe that could have worked a little bit better, and then start changing things from there. Okay, so you're gonna want to do this either, if your goal is set based off of exams, so obviously every exam you're gonna want to do this. If you are setting goals that for example, like a weight loss goal where you're trying to see how much weight you lose at the end of the week, then obviously track your progress every single week. The more frequently you do it, the better. I think daily is a little crazy. I don't personally do that, but I do assess how I'm doing every single week. And I want to tell you something. Confidence. So many of you lack confidence in yourselves. Well, here's the thing. Confidence in success is a byproduct of doing hard and challenging things. Emphasis on doing. You become confident in something when you actually do it, practice it, get feedback, and continue to adjust. That's how you build confidence. You don't build confidence on the sidelines. You don't build confidence by reading a book. You build confidence in the arena by doing it, by being courageous and doing things even when you're afraid and even when they're hard, because that's what's going to build up the resiliency. And then when you take the action and you start seeing the results, then you're like, wow, I was actually capable of doing that. Or like, wow, look at how much progress I've made. And when you can see yourself making progress, and when you can see yourself doing things that you never thought were possible, that's how you build confidence. That's how the next time you have to do something, you're not afraid, or you're more willing to raise your hand and be the first one to do it. You cannot lose if you don't quit. I love that saying. You cannot lose if you don't quit. The only time that you lose is if you give up. The only time that you lose is if you stop. That's literally it. Time is not even a real thing, guys. Like, it doesn't matter. If you want something, you truly want it. Who cares if it takes you 5 freaking years? Who cares? Who cares? If you're going to be all in, be all freaking in. Because if you're not all in, if you're going to quit at the first sign of failure, how badly did you freaking want it anyway? This is the thing that is missing in colleges and universities. Like, this is what we need to be talking about. Yes, history, math, and all that crap matters. But if we can't get our students to actually do the work and look at their education differently, what are we doing? If we're not teaching you guys how to utilize the most incredible piece of software that we have, which is our brain, to achieve and create and imagine and build the future that's ahead of us, what are we doing? Many of you are not achieving the things that you want to achieve. You're not producing. You're not being as productive. You're procrastinating because you don't understand how much you're holding yourself back. Because you want life to be painless and happy and beautiful and shooting rainbow unicorn butterflies out your butt. That's not how life is. Nobody who's ever achieved anything will ever tell you that it was easy. Their life now is easy because they went through that to build and create and pay people to make their life simpler. But even they have challenges, and most of the challenges and problems that we have, guys, are here. They're not out there. They're not in like the world or things that are happening to us physically. It's all up here. And if you can learn to start managing this up here and creating plans and anticipating obstacles and coming up with ways ahead of time and using your brain to think bigger and creatively, you're going to achieve more in your life. And again, I am like telling you, I've never been so pumped for a damn challenge as I am for the Your Best Semester Yet challenge. So honestly, we're going to start on January 1st, with or without you. And the girls that are in it are going to have a freaking incredible spring 2019 semester. And I'm going to feel bad for you if you don't, because you decided not to join. So if you want to join us on January 1st, you can join us by going to bit.ly/best semester yet. And let me go ahead and take a moment to put that in the comments, because I know somebody's going to type it in wrong and you're going to miss out on the challenge, and I'm going to be so sad that you're not there with us. So give me a moment to do that. I just have to find it. All right, so Adrian says that she receives this message. And Adrian, I am so glad you receive it, because this was for you. Anybody who's on here tonight, you were meant to hear this. And I'm like just so fired up. Obviously you can tell by like, first of all, I'm sweating. Second of all, like when I yell, it's because I'm really passionate about the topic. So I want you to take the steps that I gave you tonight. I want you, number one, to set your goals. And again, if you have not set your goals yet for 2019, there's a whole goal setting series here on this YouTube channel where you're watching right now. Go watch that first, create your goals, right? Pick your goals. Number two, come back here and create your Make It Possible plan and sign up for the challenge if you haven't already. When you do create your Make It Possible plan, comment on the video. Let me know what your plan is. Let me know if you had any troubles. Let me know if you have questions about it, because that's what this live show is about. It's for us to interact, for us to get to know each other, for us to really build sisterhood and community and be that support system that we might not have in our lives. That's the reason why I created this show. And at the end of the show, I go through and I look at the comments and I talk to you to you because I want to build that relationship with you. This is something that I feel like is missing on YouTube and that I want to bring, especially as a woman of color, especially as a Latina. I want to build this community where I have these badass freaking women just here supporting each other and watching each other win and cheering each other on. That's really what I'm trying to create with this community. So I'm going to go ahead and end the show on that note. But before I go, of course, I'm going to answer questions and then we'll end the show. Ghana says, Clarissa, you are amazing. Thank you so much, love, for that beautiful comment. Amy says, I hope you had a very Merry Christmas. I did. I worked Christmas Eve. So those of you who don't know who I am, or you don't know much about me because it's the first time they're catching one of these live streams. I work part-time as a labor and delivery nurse. So I worked Christmas Eve and then I had Christmas Day off and I just spent it with my husband. We basically did nothing. It was amazing. So unapologetically, Nicole says, I will set and plan goals, but fear sets in. I self-sabotage a lot. Yeah. So, the challenge, we're going to talk about what to do with those thoughts. The self-sabotage is real. That's one of the obstacles that you're going to have to deal with. And I really suggest that you take a listen to Brooke Castillo's podcast. It's called the Life Coach School podcast because she talks a lot about how to first become aware of the thoughts that are causing us to self-sabotage, but also she walks you through a process of how to start changing those thoughts so that they start to serve you to achieve whatever goal it is that you're afraid of. Chris says, I think this goals might help me to actually not feel like I'm just floating through college. Oh my God, yes, it's going to focus your brain, and your brain loves to focus on things. When you have that clarity around what it is that you want to achieve, around what it is that you want to do, it becomes really simple and easy to come up with a plan afterwards on how you're actually going to do it. So Tony says, yes, my best semester yet. She's going for a BSN in 2020. Woohoo. Deja signed up for the challenge. And Tamika says that tonight's show is definitely for her. It's for all of you. I only create things that I know are going to resonate and land because I'm listening and I'm paying attention to what you girls are feeling. And I'm also tapping into me when I was failing out of all those classes, when I was struggling, and also, the things that I'm struggling with now. Adrian Cole says, I'm very familiar with setting mental academic goals and failing at them, passing classes with mediocre grades, 1 year left to prerequisites 2019. I'm looking forward to having my blinders on. Yes. Having your blinders on, knowing what you're working towards, having a plan and being able to give yourself that feedback loop where you're like, okay, I tried this for 4 weeks. I did it, to a T, and it really helped me. So then you continue going. Or if you notice tutoring wasn't as helpful, then you change it. That's why I love setting goals, because number one, it allows me to see all the BS thoughts that are going around in my head that are blocking me so that I can look at them and basically say, that's a lie, that's a lie, that's a lie. Let's find some thoughts that are actually going to serve me, because we are so powerful, guys, right? We're so powerful. And if we took half of that power and started speaking life over ourselves instead of death, can you imagine what we could accomplish? A lot. Let's see. Funke says she did set goals for nursing. And but something happened along the line and I couldn't achieve the goal. I don't honestly know what happened, and that's fine, And one of the things that you have to ask yourself, Funke, is this a goal that you still want to achieve, right? Do you still want to go after it? And if so, don't give up. Be all in, regardless if it takes you 5, 6, 7, 8 years. How many years did I wait to actually deliver babies? So I did 4 years of college, 1 year where I was applying to schools and got declined from a bunch of schools. And I did 1 year of prerequisites, and then it was 2 years for nursing school. So that's 8 years before I became a nurse and was able to deliver babies. You know what I mean? I had to wait, and I failed along the way, but I just kept going because that was what I wanted, right? I was going to go until I achieved it. I was all in. So yeah, all right guys, so thank you so much for joining me. I'm going to go ahead and end the show here. I don't want to take up any more of your time, but again, we're here every Thursday. I do the show at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so make sure that you subscribe to the channel so you get notified when these shows are going to happen, and I will see you in the challenge on January 1st, and if not, back here on Thursday at 6 p.m. Have a great night.
You know how figuring out how to study can be totally overwhelming? You're probably trying to learn study strategies from YouTube, podcasts, Pinterest, and other blogs that are all great, but sometimes give you contradictory and confusing advice. I get it. It's hard to filter through which study strategies you should be implementing right now to get better grades versus the ones that you shouldn't bother wasting your time on because they're not as effective. The advice you're reading and hearing about might be amazing, but how and where do you start? That's exactly why we created Study School, to help you to create your own signature study plan that helps you make the Dean's List every semester, earn and keep your scholarships, or graduate summa cum laude if that's what you want, all without sacrificing your entire life. Inside Study School, not only will you receive a step-by-step action guide that walks you through the key elements of a semester success plan, such as syllabus week, lecture, readings, note-taking, study routines, post-exam reviews, study groups, paper writing, and so much more. But you'll also receive tailored one-on-one attention and feedback to help you overcome any challenges you personally encounter while you pursue your degree as a busy college woman. There are video tutorials walking you through how to take notes, write papers, and physically study, action items so you stay on track, templates to help you get started when you're feeling stuck, and even study hall hours you can pop into to ask questions, get answers on the spot, and have someone give you that extra dose of motivation to keep you moving forward. So, if you're ready to step into your brilliance this semester, get started at sherocksatcollege.com/study-school.